Now in this video I have more examples on solving quadratic equations by factorization. So let's look at this example. We want to solve the following equations. On A we have 2x squared minus 5x minus 3 equal to 0, and on B we have 3x squared minus 7x plus 4 equal to 0. So let's look at the solution. If you're looking at part A and part B, you can see that the coefficient of x squared on either is not equal to 1, and this is different to the examples that we've been working with so far. And I have another method which would be an easier method for you to use, to factorize the quadratic expression so that you can solve the equations. So let's look at A. On A we have 2x squared minus 5x minus 3 equal to 0. The first thing we do is we multiply the first and the last terms. Now our first term here is 2x squared, and our last term here is negative 3, and the product of 2x squared and negative 3 will come out as negative 6x squared. Next, we look for a pair of factors whose product is negative 6x squared but whose sum is the middle term, which is negative 5x squared. So now we're looking for a pair of factors of negative 6x squared. Alright, negative 6x squared has a number of factors, so we're going to be using trial and error to find the pair which will give us the middle term, which is negative 5x. So factors of negative 6x squared include positive 6x and negative x, negative 6x and positive x, 2x positive and negative 3x. We also have negative 2x and positive 3x. So among this pair of factors whose product gives us negative 6x squared, we want to look for the one whose sum will give us negative 5x. And you're going to find that this pair of factors gives us a sum of negative 5x. So we take that pair of factors, and what we do next is we substitute the factors in place of negative 5x. So that means that we'll be now having 2x squared, and in place of minus 5x we substitute. We said we'll be getting now is minus 6x plus x, and this will be minus 3 equal to 0. Next, we factorize now by grouping the terms. Right, so grouping these two terms, the common factor right here is 2x. So we factor out 2x and we divide 2x into 2x squared. That gives us x, and 2x into minus 6x, we get minus 3. Next, we group these last two terms, and the common factor among them is 1. So we factor out plus 1 and we divide 1 into x, we get 1. We get x, and 1 into minus 3, we get minus 3, and that will be equal to 0. And next, for these two expressions in sum, the common factor, they have a common factor of x minus 3. So we factor out the x minus 3, and we divide x minus 3 into this expression, and we get 2x, and x minus 3 into this, then we get plus 1, and that will be equal to 0. And now we have a product that gives us 0, and you remember what we said, that means that either x minus 3 will be equal to 0, or 2x plus 1 is the one that's equal to 0. Solving the two linear equations that we now have will give us x equals to 3 on the first one, and here we get x being equal to negative 1 over 2, and these two are our solutions, x equal to 3 or negative half. So that's how we can solve this quadratic equation by factorization. Right, if you have understood part A, I would want you to attempt part B. On B we have 3x squared minus 7x plus 4 equal to 0. Now I'll just give you a few minutes to work this one out. So I want you to pause the video starting from now and start working on it. Alright, so let's look at my solution. The first thing I do is I multiply the first and last terms, and then I'll be having 3x squared times 4. That gives me 12x squared. And I look for factors of 12x squared, whose product is 12x squared, and whose sum is the middle term, which is negative 7x. I do that by trial and error. And by trial and error, I'm going to find that the factors of 12x squared, whose sum is negative 7x, will come out as minus 3x and minus 4x. And I substitute the factors, these factors, in place of negative 7x. So that I'll be having 3x squared minus 3x minus 4x plus 4 equal to 0. And I factorize by grouping. So I start with this group. The common factor here is 3x. I factor out 3x, and I divide 3x into 3x squared to get x, and 3x into minus 3x to get minus 1. Again, for this group, I factor out minus 4, and if I divide minus 4 into minus 4x, then I get x, and minus 4 into 4 get minus 1, and that will be equal to 0. Now for these two expressions, the common factor is x minus 1, and for x minus 1, then I factor out that x minus 1, and I divide x minus 1 into 3x of x minus 1, then I get 3x, and x minus 1 into this expression, then I get minus 4, and that will be equal to 0. And that means that either x minus 1 is equal to 0 or 3x minus 4 is equal to 0. Right, solving the two linear equations, then x will be equal to 1, or x will be equal to 4 over 3, which is also 1 and a third. So those two are my solutions. X is equal to 1 or 1 and a third. I hope you got the answer correct, and I'm going to be giving you more examples, more problems to work out.